It's time for Dixie State University Athletics on Radio Dixie 91.3 KXDS Santa Clara. DSU Athletics on Radio Dixie 91.3 is brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln, your neighborhood Ford dealer. We hear you. And now, it's time for DSU Athletics.
Hello and welcome to another great day of Trailblazers softball here at Carl Brooks Field, located on the beautiful campus of Dixie State University in St. George, Utah. I'm Easton Smith, bringing you the play-by-play action today. A little bit about your Dixie State Trailblazers. They are 7-2 overall on this new 2019 season. They started conference play this weekend in their new conference, the RMAC. This is their first season. Yesterday was their first two games in conference play. They split them. They won the first game against the Adams State Lady Grizzlies 4-2 in a closely contested battle, which saw freshman pitcher Carissa Burgess pick up her fifth win on the season, while Danny Bardoff drove in 2 runs for the Lady Trailblazers in that win. And in the second game, Dixie State just fell short to Colorado Christian University in extra innings. They lost 6-7 in 8 innings. The game was ugly. That's the easiest way to put it. The game was filled with many errors from both teams. 4 by Dixie State, 2 by Colorado Christian. It was not a very well executed game by either teams. The highlight for Dixie State of that game was the home run that was belted by Jess Gonzalez in the bottom of the 4th inning, and freshman Casey Crawford singled up the middle to score 2 runs, Bailey Gaffin and Danny Bardoff. Earlier today, the Trailblazers matched up with Colorado Christian again to try to avenge their extra inning loss from yesterday. But today, they were very successful in doing that, taking the game only in 5 innings by a score of 11-0. Jess Gonzalez again came up huge with a grand slam to end the game for a walk-off to run rule them. And Carissa Burgess again picked up another win on this season, number 6 for her, which is very impressive, her being only a freshman in her first season for the Dixie State Trailblazers. Now to the game we have right now. As both teams are starting to warm up, Dixie State is about to take on the Adams State Grizzlies again for the second time to try to sweep out this weekend series. A little look at Adams State's. They are winless so far throughout this 2019 season. They have battled in every game. Each and every one of their scores doesn't dictate how well they've played. Yesterday they took Dixie to the wire, to the very last few innings, until Dixie finally pulled away for the win. And this game right before us, Adams State just fell short to Colorado Christian. Again, 2 games in a row, 3 losses for the Adams State Lady Grizzlies. They are struggling to get in that win column right now. They are a scrappy team by the looks of it. They take each team down to the wire, so they will be looking for their first win in this game. Let's take a look at some key players from both Dixie State and Adams State for today's matchup. Starting with Dixie State, number 11, Mallory Eldridge, a sophomore outfielder from Arvada, Colorado, from Ralston Valley High School. She has a .462 average. She has 7 runs scored, and she had just been lighting up the diamond with her hits. She has been the most consistent hitter at the plate for the Lady Trailblazers. She has 6 RBIs. And looking at the stats, she is at the top of every category offensively for the Lady Trailblazers. She has the highest batting average, highest on-base percentage, the most hits, the most runs scored. She is also leading the team in doubles. She has just been consistently the top hitter for the Trailblazers so far throughout this brand new 2019 season. And then we have number 12, Jess Gonzalez, who's usually behind the plate catching, but today for this game, she is a designated player. She is a senior at Kingsbury, California, Kingsbury High School. She has a .364 average. She just belted out 2 home runs in the last 2 days, including the grand slam yesterday to end the game, which now brings her total up to 4. She has 7 runs scored, and she is second on the team with 11 RBIs, just behind number 17, Corey Gahn. And then she is not pitching this game, but I just thought to mention her. Number 6, Carissa Burgess, a freshman pitcher out of Ellensburg, Washington, Ellensburg High School. She is a freshman, as I said again, with 6 wins, 0 losses so far in the season, pitching with an astonishing 1.83 ERA. For a freshman, that is pretty amazing, which she reminds me so much of Cambry Hazel, who is actually the starting pitcher for this matchup against Adams State right now. her freshman year. They both come in. They're both tall, scrappy pitchers with a lot of movement to their pitches. She is exciting. Her drop ball is crazy. She pitches the contact. She's not much of a strikeout artist, but she pitches the contact and she gets the job done. And now players to watch for Adams State, the Grizzlies out of Alamosa, Colorado. Number 24, a junior outfielder, Sarah Hansen. She's hitting .357 for the Lady Grizzlies with 10 hits, 1 home run, and 1 RBI. Also for the Adams State Lady Grizzlies, number 9, Shelby Haskins. She's a freshman pitcher. She also hits for the team. She has a .333 average. She has 8 hits, 2 home runs, which leads the team, and also leads the team in their RBIs category with 4. As we get ready to start this game, the Lady Trailblazers look to close out this series with the Adams State Grizzlies. They beat them yesterday in a closely contested battle, and their bats were cold in that game. They did not hit the ball well, but today in their first game against Colorado Christian, their bats came to life. They scored 11 runs in 5 innings. They bursted onto the field. All those runs were actually, there's a lot of bunts. They small balled it, run here, run there in the first few innings, and then the floodgates opened in the 4th and the 5th. The grand slam by Jess, the doubles here and there, just RBI after RBI. The team started with the small ball, which they like to do, which Coach Simpkins likes to do. They are a small ball team, but those home runs seem to be what put them over the top almost every single game. Each one of their games so far this season for the Dixie State Trailblazers has, besides a few, has come down to the wire. They come to the last few innings, and then the bats come to life in the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and that's when the Trailblazers hop on top, and that's when they take control and they win the game. Today, the starting lineups for the Dixie State Trailblazers, we'll go by in their batting order. Leading off for the Trailblazers is number 22, Brenna Cornwall. She'll be starting in right field today for the Trailblazers, followed by number 11, Mallory Eldridge in left field. Then number 12, the Grand Slammer herself, Jess Gonzalez, who is being the designated player today for this game, followed by Michaela Thompson, number 21, at first base. Then Danny Bardoff, number 2, playing third base for the Trailblazers. Then in center field, number 10, Taylor Godfrey. At second base, Caitlin DeLange, number 4. Then behind the dish tonight, instead of Jess, we have number 3, Destiny Diaz. And at shortstop, we have number 24, Megan Anders. And in the pitching circle for the Dixie State Trailblazers is the sophomore pitcher, Cambry Hazel. Cambry is a strikeout artist. She has so much movement late to her pitches that it moves out of the zone last minute, so that batters have no opportunity to hit the ball and make contact. The difference between her and Carissa throws drop balls, and the players ground out, pop up, they get underneath it. She pitches the contact, and she gets the results. Cambry is a completely different style of pitcher. She has movement, and she has velocity behind her pitches that make it incredibly difficult for the opposing teams to make contact. As they just got done playing Colorado Christian. We'll play it when I get that. I will announce it when I get that. As we continue this, let's talk about how the Trailblazers have so far been this season. They started off hot in their first few games a few weeks back, only to fall to Hawaii Pacific. Hawaii Pacific was the team last year, if you guys have been around, that broke their win streak. They started last season 20-0 without a loss until they went over to Hawaii. They took the long flight over to Hawaii, and they lost. And they were the first team this season to draw blood from the Dixie State Trailblazers. They were the first team to put an L in that column for the Dixie State Trailblazers. The Trailblazers need to win this game in order to make a name for themselves in this new RMAC conference of theirs. This is their first season coming over from the Pac West, and they need to make sure the RMAC knows why the coaches put them at number 1 for the preseason poll. Getting into that, to start the preseason, Dixie State was predicted number 1 in the coaches poll for the RMAC standings. Being a team new to the conference, first year, nothing's changed. To get picked first in the RMAC is an incredible feat. Coming over from the Pac-West, where they played teams such as Hawaii Pacific, Hawaii Hilo, Cal BAP, who is now a D1 school. It is astonishing that they got picked first in the conference in their first year. As we get this game started, as both teams are starting to warm up, we are going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we'll get back and we'll discuss today's game between the Dixie State Trailblazers and the Adams State Lady Grizzlies. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff, St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as we have the Dixie State Trailblazers taking on the Adams State Grizzlies. Today is the last game of the day for the Dixie State Trailblazers, as they have gone 2-1 so far this weekend, winning one against Adams State, the other against Colorado Christian, but also falling to Colorado Christian yesterday. As this game, as both teams are still warming up on the field, as we're getting ready, let's take a look at some of the statistics from both teams so far this season. So far, the Lady Trailblazers have yet to go on the road for a road game. That happens this weekend when they take the trip to Colorado Mesa in Grand Junction to take on their first road trip in this new conference. But so far this season, they have played decent. I'd put decent. I wouldn't say great. Their bats have been a little dead to start a lot of the games so far this season. They have not been the most consistent team at the plate. There has been some consistent plays from some of the players on the team, but overall, as a whole unit, they have not performed the way they need to perform to win the games. Even though they are winning the games, they are ugly, and they are very low-scoring games compared to what we are used to in the past of Dixie State softball history. Looking at the stats, Mallory Eldridge is leading almost every single offensive category for the Dixie State Trailblazers. She is hitting .462 so far this season, which is an incredible feat. She is 12 for 26 so far in the season with 6 RBIs, 2 doubles, and 7 runs scored. She has been the most consistent hitter at the plate. She'll be batting second for the Trailblazers this game. And the way she's used, she doesn't have a lot of power. She is a put the ball in play, put it in the gaps where the players aren't, and she gets on and she scores almost every time she's on base. She scores 7 out of 12 times she is on, which is incredible. She gets left on a few times here and there, but I believe she is the key to how the Dixie State Trailblazers will be successful today, because she gets on and she scores almost every single time. Then going down to the number 3 hitter today for the Dixie State Trailblazers is Jess Gonzalez. She is a big bat. She is a home run hitter. So far this season, she's hitting .364 with 4 home runs. She's scored 7 times, and she has 11 runs batted in. And 2 of those 4 home runs have come in the last few games that she has played this weekend. She hit the grand slam earlier, which was a shot. It was dead center, and it cleared the fence by a good amount. Then yesterday, she hit a bomb to left, and which her swing, she's a straight power hitter. She has a beautiful swing. She makes beautiful contact, and every time she hits the ball, she rips it to wherever she hits it to. Moving down to number 4 is a transfer player for the Dixie State Trailblazers. She's coming from Southern Utah University. This is her first year with the program. Is number 21, Michaela Thompson. She'll be batting 4th for the Trailblazers this game, and she'll be playing first base. And a little fun fact about Michaela, her very first at-bat in a Dixie State Trailblazer uniform was in fact a home run. Just put a little icing on the cake, transferring down from the school just about 50 miles north of us. She comes down here, and she's immediately an impact player for the Trailblazers. She is hitting .304 on the season with 1 double, 1 triple, 1 RBI, and 9 runs batted in with a slugging percentage of .565. That is impressive in and out itself. We'll look to her and Jess for the power today in our lineup. Moving down into the lineup, we have number 2, Danny Barda, who will be playing third base and hitting 5th for the Lady Trailblazers today. So far on the season, Danny is hitting .333 at the plate with 7 runs scored, 9 hits. She has 2 doubles, 1 home run, and she has 9 runs batted in for the Trailblazers. Danny so far has played 3 positions in a game for the Trailblazers, playing third, which is her primary position. She started the game at second while injuries occurred, and at short while injuries occurred for the Lady Trailblazers. She is a utility player in and out itself. She is one of the most consistent fielders you will ever see on the field at once for the Lady Trailblazers. Going down into the lineup, we have number 10, Taylor Godfrey, playing center field. She is fast and has a cannon. Let's just leave it at that. So far, she's hitting .286 on the season, 4 runs scored, 6 hits, 2 doubles, and 3 RBIs. She'll be the captain of the outfield today. She is a senior from Arizona. She didn't get a lot of chances last year to play, but she is making the most out of it this season. She started in both right and center. Right earlier today, centered this game. She is consistently a threat to steal any base, to advance any hits from a single to a double, double to a triple with her speed, and also throwing people out from the outfield at any base at any time. Moving on in line, we have number 4, Caitlin DeLang, the second baseman, senior from Cedar City, Utah, just up the road from St. George, Utah. She is coming back off of injury where a freak incident has happened. A few weeks ago, she was hit with a line drive during pregame warm-ups, so we are happy to have her back. She is hitting .444 so far this season with 4 runs scored, 2 doubles, but yet no RBIs. She is the reason we're scoring because she's the one that gets on base. She is the bunter in the lineup. She is the one that moves people over. She is the definition of a team player. She is the small ball and small ball softball because she is the one that bunts people over. She's the one reason people get in a scoring position to let the other bats knock them in. Moving down, we have number 3, Destiny Diaz, who will be behind the dish tonight. She has not played that many games so far this season, as Jess Gonzalez has started at catching, who is now the designated player for this game. Destiny Diaz, a junior from Camarillo, California, is hitting .250 on the season. And for that bat, she has 1 hit, but that 1 hit was a crushing home run over center field. And that home run was a grand slam. Her first at-bat of the season was yet another home run, making that 2 Trailblazers this year, who's their first at-bat on the season, was a home run, which is incredible. Moving down, we have number 24, Megan Anders, who is starting at shortstop for the Trailblazers today. Megan is a utility player, too, just like Danny Bardoff. She can play the outfield. She can play short. She can catch. I've seen her do it all. She is hitting a little bit lower than everyone else. She's around a 100 average. She has 1 hit on the season with no RBIs, but she is a defensive master. She can play the shortstop position. She can play right, left, and she can catch. So the fact that you have a player like her and Danny Bardoff that can both play multiple positions for the Trailblazers can come in major importance later on the season after all the wear and tear of the travel, the back-to-back day games, the back-to-back games in general. Having players where they can play multiple positions, they will be very successful. Then our leadoff hitter, number 22, Brenna Cornwall, who will be starting in right field today for the Lady Trailblazers. She's hitting .227 so far in the season with 5 hits and 1 RBI. She is consistently one of the best outfielders for the Trailblazers, along with Mallory Eldridge. She will be starting in right field today, moving over from left, her usual position, as Mallory has put a stamp on that position so far this season. She is a sophomore for the Trailblazers, Mallory is. She came into the season not knowing where she will play in the outfield because the outfield, almost every position was up for grabs with the leaving of Janessa Bassett last year, an All-American for the Dixie State Trailblazers of the last 4 years. She was one of the most prolific players in Dixie State Trailblazer history. So when she graduated and left, the Trailblazers were left wondering what they were going to do in the outfield. And Mallory has put a stamp in left field that she is here to stay. She has been the most consistent hitter for the Trailblazers, and has made some highlight reel plays in the outfield. Then moving over back to Brenna Cornwall. She started in left field last year for the Trailblazers, moved over to right field because of the emergence of Mallory Eldridge, and she is consistently good in every aspect of this game we call softball. In center field, we have Taylor Godfrey. She moves back and forth between center and right depending on who's playing and who's not playing. So the outfield is locked down for the time being, with Casey Crawford, a freshman from Fillmore, California, who comes in now and again to serve as a substitute for the Trailblazers. And she is not too shabby herself. She is quick. She reminds me of a young Janessa Bassett back when Janessa was still at Dixie State, her freshman and sophomore year. She's fast. She's a slapper. She's left-handed at the plate, right-handed in the outfield with a good arm, good speed. She'll be fun to watch in the coming years. Moving to the infield, where almost every game is the same besides this one. At first base today, we have Michaela Thompson. At second, we have Caitlin DeLang, who is the stamped on second base in almost every game for the Dixie State Trailblazers. At shortstop, we have Megan Anders, who is starting in place of Bailey Gaffin, who is the usual shortstop for the Dixie State Trailblazers. She has been battling with a finger injury over the last 2 weeks. So she has game to game whether she's going to play or not. So Megan gets the start for this game. Then over at third base is Danny Bardoff. Back to the pitching circle. Cambry Hazel was a freshman sensation this last season for the Dixie State Trailblazers. She came in on fire in her first few starts for the Trailblazers, even getting recognized 1 week as the National Freshman Pitcher of the Year and the National Freshman of the Year. Get that. That is very, very impressive as a freshman. And what's even crazy now, we have another freshman sensation, Carissa Burgess, who is 6-0 on the season. To have both pitchers, Cambry and Carissa, be so young, one freshman, one sophomore, they're going to be a dynamic duo for years to come. And let's not forget about number 13, Alex Melendez, who is a senior pitcher this year for the Lady Trailblazers, who has some of the best off-speed pitches I have ever seen. She doesn't throw very hard, but she gets hitters off balance with her screw and her change and her drop ball. She gets the hitters guessing almost every at-bat. As we get ready for this game to start, both teams have just cleared the field back to the dugouts to get ready for the start of this game. We're going to take a short 1-minute break before this game. Do not touch that radio dial. This is Radio Dixie 91.3.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field in the beautiful St. George, Utah. It is great to finally get out and play at Carl Brooks Field. There has been snow, rain, and all sorts of kind of weather to cancel multiple games for the Trailblazers over the last few weeks here in St. George. So the fact that the sun is shining, there's no clouds in the sky, it is a beautiful day here in St. George, just about 60 degrees here in February. Let's get to this game. Let's get started for this game as the Dixie State Trailblazers are getting ready to take on the Adams State Grizzlies out of Alamosa, Colorado. A little bit about them. They have yet to win a game this season. They're 0-15 on the season. They're 0-3 in conference play. They are a team looking for answers. Looking at their stats, they have a few good individual players, but as a whole group, they have not yet put it together to get a W in their win column. They're looking at their statistics. Number 24, Sarah Hansen, is batting an impressive .357 on the season so far, with 10 hits, 1 double, 1 home run, and 1 RBI, which is not a bad stat line. It's just she was only one of the few people to consistently hit for the Adams State Grizzlies so far this season. Then we look at number 9, Shelby Haskins. She's hitting yet another impressive stat, .333 so far this season, with 3 runs scored, 7 hits, 1 double, and 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs, both of which lead their team in that category. Then number 77, Sarah Roca, is usually their leadoff hitter. She is fast. She's a slapper. But yet she is only hitting .194 in the season, but she gets on base with walks. She has been walked an incredibly amount of times. She's been walked 3 times so far. She's been hit twice so far this season, and she gets on the base, and she usually scores with 5 runs scored so far this season. As we get ready to start this game, the Trailblazers will look to finish out this weekend 3-1 over the last 2 days of their first weekend in conference play. As the coaches just go to home plate, we get ready to start this game. The Trailblazers will have Cambry Hazel in the circle, Destiny Diaz behind the plate. As we get ready to announce the starting lineups, we'll take a short minute break to get right back to the action. Don't touch that dial. This is Radio Dixie 91.3.
This close.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Radio Dixie 91.3. I have just received the starting lineup for the Dixie State Trailblazers and the Adams State Grizzlies. Looking at the Adams State Grizzlies starting lineup, we have coming up for their leadoff, number 77, Sarah Roca, playing right field. Number 10 is batting second, Samantha McDonald. Number 5, Jade Garbiso. Number 9, Shelby Haskins, batting 5th. Zoe Munn, batting 6th. Rebecca Wood, batting 7th. Mercedes Salazar, 8th. Alyssa Solorzano, and 9th. Jasmine Parker. As we have the leadoff hitter for the Grizzlies coming up to the box right now. She digs in. Cambry digs in, gets her signs. We are ready to go. The first pitch is on her way. And we start off with the ball. 0-1 on Sarah Roca. Cambry needs to start early with her strikes. She has become accustomed to falling behind so far this season. She needs to work on her strikes. She gets ready for her second pitch. She winds up and she delivers. And she just misses a strike again. A little low on outside. 2-0 to start this count. 2-0 to start this game on number 77, Sarah Roca. Cambry needs to find the strike zone. As she gets in her windup once again, we wait to see what happens. And strike one, the first strike of the game on the inside half of the plate. It's a good start for Cambry Hazel. She's falling behind a little late, 2-1 to the leadoff hitter. She will look to continue. Foul ball from number 77, Sarah Roca, down the third base line. It is now 2-2 on this count as Cambry looks to get this first batter of the game out, and as Adams State looks to get on base. She winds up for the pitch as she delivers. It is a strikeout. Looking for Cambry Hazel, number 1 of the game already. She looks to continue to add to her strikeout total this season. Coming up next for the Adams State Grizzlies is number 10, Samantha McDonald. As she digs into the box, she will look to get things started for the Grizzlies. Cambry winds up and delivers a ball as she looks to bunt. She's a slapper. She's a left-hander. They both of the first two hitters for the Adams State Grizzlies have been left-handed. And she is looking to slap. She is looking to drag bunt down the third baseline to have an opportunity to get in the game, and she does. Danny Barra fields it and throws her out at first. 2 down in the top half of this first inning for the Dixie State Trailblazers as number 5, Jade Garbiso, comes to the plate for the Adams State Grizzlies. Cambry, after those first 2 balls, has been consistent in the strike zone, which is something you like to see someone who has struggled with balls and walks so far. She winds up with her first pitch to Jade is a strike on the inside part of the plate. It is 0-1 with 2 outs in the top half of this first inning as the Adams State Grizzlies look to get on the scoreboard early. Cambry misses inside with a fastball. It is now 1-1 for Jade Garbiso. Number 5 for Adams State. Cambry needs to stay ahead on these batters because if she lets them stay around, they are a scrappy team and they will stay around the entire game and make it a fight. She winds up and swing and a miss on a good cut by Jade. It is 1-2 on the count, and it was a hard, high and tight fastball. Good pitch, good swing, just a little off. She winds up, and it is a grounder to short. Megan Anders fields it and throws her out at first to close out the top half of the first inning. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. This is Radio Dixie 91.3.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field. We're in the top half of the first inning. Cambry Hazel struck out 1 and had 2 ground outs for the 3 outs in the top half of the first inning. She had started the inning a little shaky with those 2 balls, but then she came back and was dominant with a strikeout and 2 groundouts to follow. Both grounders or softly hit balls, so it is great to see her starting off the game like that. In the circle today for the Adams State Grizzlies, we have number 5, Jade Garbiso. Leading off for the Trailblazers, we have Brenna Cornwall. She is starting in right field today for the Trailblazers. She bats left. She gets in, she digs in, and she is ready to start this game for the Trailblazers. First pitch is low. Call the ball for Adams State. It is 1-0 on this count as Brennan digs in for the second pitch. She winds up and delivers, and she misses high and inside for a ball as Brenna had to duck away from it. 1 pitch low, 1 pitch high. The pitcher is starting off a little shaky, so she seems like she needs to get under control as she winds up for the third pitch. And she misses low and outside for the second time in this at-bat, leaving it 3-0 to start this game, which is not a good start, but she needs to bounce back and figure things out. As she winds up to see if it is a walk, she gets a strike right down the middle. Brenna does not swing. It was a 3-0 count. Coach probably told her to let it go, take it, and it is 3-1 now. So she looks, this is the hitter's count. Let's see what she does. Ball 4, high and outside. Brenna Cornwall is on first base for the Lady Trail Blazers. Coming up, number 11, Mallory Eldridge, as she looks to advance Brenna Cornwall and hopefully score her for the Lady Trailblazers. She digs in and is awaiting her first pitch. She drives it into right field between the first and second base gap as she gets a solid single, advances Brenna Cornwall to second base. First pitch, first hit of the game. That's why she is leading the Dixie State Trailblazers softball team in average. Hits like that. Runner on first and second base for the Trailblazers. As number 12, Jess Gonzalez, the designated player, comes into the batter's box. She is looking to continue her hot streak for the Trailblazers. First pitch nearly hits her foot. She jumps out of the way for a ball. It is 0-1 so far for Jess Gonzalez as she looks to score both Brenna Cornwall and Mallory Eldridge. High and outside for Jess Gonzalez, 2-0 on this count. She looks for a pitch she can hit. With this next pitch, she looks to drive it somewhere. And she just gets underneath it for a little blooper to shortstop, which is caught for the first out of the inning. 1 out, runner still at first and second for the Dixie Trailblazers as number 21, Michaela Thompson, comes to the plate. This is Michaela's first year at Dixie State. She is a transfer from Southern Utah University, and she looks to do something with these two runners on. She takes first pitch, ball, which was high. This pitcher seems to be a little inconsistent with what she's doing so far in the pitching circle. Foul ball, 1-1 for Michaela Thompson. Michaela looks to show off her power, which everyone knows she has, as her first at bat in a Trailblazer uniform was a home run. She takes a strike, a nice breaking ball that dropped right into the bottom left part of the plate. 1-2 for Michaela Thompson. She hits a little grounder between short and third, and it sneaks through, but it's not enough to score Brenna Cornwall as she advances to third. Mallory advanced to second, and Michaela with a single. It was a softly hit ground ball in between in the 5-hole between short and third, which brings up number 2, Danny Bardoff, the third baseman for Dixie State. Danny looks to do something with this bases loaded. First pitch, first foul off for Danny Bardoff. 0-1. She fouls it off over the right baseline. 0-1 to start her at bat. She looks down to Coach Simpkins on third line to pick up her signs to try and do something for the Dixie State Trailblazers. She drives into left field, and an amazing diving catch by number 10, Samantha McDonald, to save runs. But it drives in one. If she did not catch it, that possibly could have scored all 3, probably just 2, but it still scores 1. Good job, good play. 1-0 for the Dixie State Trailblazers in the bottom of the first. Coming up, we have the center fielder, Taylor Godfrey, digging in for Dixie State. She takes strike 1 on the outside corner. Good pitch. The pitcher seems to have calmed down just a little bit compared to how she started this game. She winds up to deliver her second pitch to Taylor, and she misses low on a breaking ball. It is in the dirt. The catcher had to scoop it up. 1-1 on Taylor Godfrey. She winds up and delivers, misses high and outside for ball 2 as she continues to struggle finding the strike zone so far in this bottom half of the first inning. Taylor is looking to score that runner on second, which is Mallory Eldridge, and she fouls it off for strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 runners on for Taylor Godfrey here in the bottom of the first innings. She digs in to the plate to battle and try to get a hit and put it in play for the Trailblazers. Little blooper to shortstop, which is caught for the third out of the inning. 2 runners left on, 2 hits, 1 run scored in the bottom half of the first. Don't touch that radio dial. We'll be back in 30 quick seconds.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as the Trailblazers took a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first, which saw a little blooper in the left field, which was dove and caught, but Brenna Cornwall tagged up from third and scored for the Trailblazers. But they did leave 2 base runners on that inning, but it's a good start that they got on the board so early. Cambry Hazel looks to continue her dominance so far this game in the top of the second inning, as number 9, Shelby Haskins, one of the top hitters for Adams State, looks to dig in to start the top of this inning off. Cambry digs into the pitcher's circle. Shelby Haskins digs into the batter's box. We are good to go in the top half of this second inning at Carl Brooks Field. Cambry gets her sign and winds up to deliver the first pitch of the inning, which is fouled off with a chance to get caught, and it is dropped by Danny Bardoff next to the third baseline dugout. Good effort, good play, just couldn't get it done that time, but it was close. Cambry gets her sign. She digs into the pitcher's circle. Shelby looks to do something in this at bat like she did yesterday against the Trailblazers. Strike 2 is called. Nice fastball on the inside part of the plate for Cambry Hazel. That fastball seems to be one of her go-to pitches because she has such good velocity, and she looks to get Shelby Haskins out on this next pitch. She digs in and winds up. Just misses outside. Good movement on that pitch. Just a little late movement. Took it out of the strike zone. It is now 1-2 on this count for Cambry Hazel against Shelby Haskins. It is 1-2 on this count. Cambry winds up and delivers. It is fouled off straight back into the net by Shelby. It continues to be 1-2 to start this at bat in the top half of the second inning. Cambry looks to get Shelby out with one of her movement pitches, which she has done so many times for the Dixie State Trailblazers in her short career. She winds up and just misses outside and low to make this count 2-2 to the leadoff hitter of the second. Shelby digs back in. The lefty hitter, the 4-slot hole hitter, she looks to hit off Cambry, and she takes another ball high from Cambry, which brings up to a full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes for her first at bat in this matchup today. Cambry needs to start finding the strike zone. She has struggled this year so far with walks and hit batters, and she finds it as she strikes out Shelby Haskins, looking on a nice pitch that hit the outside corner for the called strike 3. That is her second strikeout of the day already. Second looking strikeout for the Adams State Grizzlies. Coming up now, we have number 00, Zoe Munn, for the Adams State Grizzlies. She fouls off the first pitch down the third base line. When she is not hitting, she is catching for the Adams State Grizzlies as Mallory Eldridge from left field waves over. Zoe Munn digs back in to the batter's box as she looks to continue this at bat and fight against Cambry Hazel, who try to get a hit in play. She fouls off yet another over the net into the parking lot to make this count 0-2 in her first at bat of the day. Let's see if Cambry can get another strikeout so far in this game to bring her total to 3 in only 2 innings, as Zoe Munn looks to say no to that and get a hit for the Grizzlies. The pitch is delivered and just misses on the inside heart of the plate. Called ball 1. It is now 1-2 for this at bat for Zoe Munn, the catcher from Adams State University. She digs in. Cambry winds up and is delivering a pitch. It is a pop-up down the left field line. Long strike. Long foul ball. Cleared the fence, cleared everything, but it was foul. Bring it. Still, 1 ball, 2 strikes for Zoe Munn in this at bat. That is her 3rd foul ball so far this at bat as she continues to battle in the batter's box. Cambry winds up and delivers the pitch. And yet another foul ball as it just barely clears the third base dugout. Out of play, another foul ball, making it hit her 4th fouled off pitch of this at bat. She is battling. She does not want to go down easy, as her count is still 1-2, but facing 7 pitches so far. She continues to battle. And yet another fouled off pitch, this time into the backstop. She continues to fight, and she continues to hit off pitches that she does not like. She is looking for that one. She is looking for that right pitch to deliver a solid hit for the Adams State Grizzlies. She digs back in. Cambry winds back up. And yet another foul ball down the third baseline for Zoe Munn. She is battling in this at-bat. She is not going to go down easy for Cambry. Cambry needs to step up her game, or Zoe Munn is going to do damage in this at-bat. Cambry gets her signs, and she winds up and delivers an amazing off-speed pitch, a little dribbler down the third baseline, and it is an infield single as Danny Bardoff cannot get the ball off as the ball falls out of her glove as she tries to throw it to first. I will not mark that as an error because it was a tough play of where it sat. But there's now a runner on first. Zoe Munn with an infield single to start off her day against the Trailblazers. Bringing up number 14, Rebecca Wood, the starting shortstop for the Adams State Grizzlies. She hits a high pop up to center field. Taylor Godfrey camps underneath it. And Zoe Munn thought about going to second. She's like, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm good at first. And she heads back to first. 2 outs here for the Dixie State Trailblazers. As Rebecca Wood, first pitch she saw, she popped up to center field to Taylor Godfrey. Bringing up number 7, Mercedes Salazar for Adams State, the starting second baseman for them. Zoe Munn on first, 2 outs. Mercedes Salazar up to bat. Cambry winds up and delivers. Just misses on the inside part of the plate. Could have been a strike, could have been a ball. Close enough to go either way, but it is 1-0, 1 ball, no strikes. 2 outs at the top of the second inning for Cambry Hazel and the Dixie State Trailblazers. She gets her signs and she's ready to deliver this next pitch. Fouled straight back into the parking lot over the backstop net to bring the count 1 ball, 1 strike on Mercedes Salazar. Cambry gets her signs and is ready for this next pitch. She delivers it and is a hard rounder down the third baseline. Danny Bardoff fields it and throws Mercedes Salazar out at first to bring this inning to a close. Stay right there. We're going to take a short 30-second break. Don't touch that radio dial. This is Radio Dixie 91.3.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as the Trailblazers lead the Grizzlies 1-0 after 1.5 innings played. The top half of the second inning saw the Grizzlies of Adams State get their first hit. Even though it was a little dinky infield hit, it still counts. So they had left 1 runner on as the Trailblazers start to come up to the plate. And it is Kate DeLange, the second baseman, who's going to start the bottom half of the second inning for the Trailblazers. The lefty digs into the box as she looks to continue her hot streak at the plate. First pitch, swinging, hits it down the first baseline, just foul, hard hit ball, but foul. 0-1 to start her count. She digs back in after that hard cut and looks to put it in play somewhere. She takes that in the dirt. Ball 1. It's 1-1 for Kate DeLange as she looks to battle and get a hit off of Jade Garbiso. She tries to drag bunt late and misses. Strike 2 called on Kate DeLange. 1-2. She looked very indecisive on that bunt attempt. She pulled it really late and did not pull back, and she completely missed the ball. It is 1-2 as the pitcher winds up and delivers. Misses low and away. 2-2 is the count. In the bottom of the second inning, Dixie State leads Adams State 1-0 after an inning and a half played. Kate DeLange is at the plate, 2-2 as she looks to hit. And she goes down, swinging, strike 3 called. 1 out for the Dixie State Trailblazers. That brings up number 3, the catcher, Destiny Diaz. Diaz, who has not seen many opportunities to play this season, looks to make the most out of this opportunity. She takes a pitch inside, called ball 1. 1-0 is the count as Jade Garbiso gets ready to wind up this pitch to Diaz as she delivers. And Diaz hard cut, but misses. 1-1 for Destiny Diaz. It was a good cut on the inside half of the plate, just missed. Good pitch by Jade Garbizo. She winds and delivers. And almost the same exact spot as the very first pitch. Called ball 2. 2-1. In this at bat for Destiny Diaz. She continues to look for a good pitch. She takes another ball in the dirt. 3-1 is the count. 1 out. 1-0 for the Trailblazers in the bottom half of the second inning. Garbiso winds and delivers to Diaz as she takes a strike called on the outside half of the plate. Full count for Destiny Diaz here. 1 out. Jade Garbiso for Adams State looks to continue to pitch well for Adams State. She misses high, ball 4 called. Destiny Diaz advances to first on a walk. Good at bat by Diaz. Took one good hat. Didn't see another pitch she liked the rest of the at bat. Gets a walk and gets on first. Now up to the at bat is the shortstop lefty hitter Megan Anders. Garbiso winds and delivers. Misses low for called ball 1. Destiny Diaz on first. Megan Anders up to the plate. 1-0 is the count. One out. Just misses outside again is Garbizo. 2-0 with 1 runner on first, 1 out here in the bottom of the second inning here at Carl Brooks Field. Garbizo winds up and delivers. Anders, little soft grounder down the first baseline. First baseman fields it, touches first herself, checks Diaz as she reaches the second, and she does. 2 outs for the Trailblazers as Diaz advances to second base, which now brings up our leadoff hitter here at Dixie State University, number 22, Brenna Cornwall. Delivers. First pitch strike on the inside half of the plate. 0-1, 2 outs, 1-0 here in the bottom of the second inning as the Dixie State Trailblazers lead the Adams State Grizzlies. Garbiso winds and delivers. And yet another soft ground ball hit to the second baseman. She fields it cleanly and throws Cornwall out at first, leaving Diaz stranded at second base. In the bottom half of the second inning, 1 runner left on, 1 hit for the Trailblazers, no runs scored. We're going to take a short 30-second break. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as the Dixie State Trailblazers lead the Adams State Grizzlies 1-0 after 2 full innings of play. As we come to the top of the third, it has been an almost hitless game. Only 3 hits total by both teams, 2 by the Trailblazers, 1 by the Adams State Grizzlies. As number 22, Alyssa Solorzano comes to the plate for Adams State as Cambry Hazel looks to continue to get out after out for the Dixie State Trailblazers. In the bottom half of the second inning, the Trailblazers stranded 1 runner on second base, Destiny Diaz, after she got on from a walk, and the Trailblazers could not capitalize. As we get to this top half of the third inning, number 22, Solorzano looks to get a hit in her first at bat of the day against the Trailblazers. Pop up into shallow right. caught by Kate DeLang for out number 1. It was a soft hit just on the outfield skirt. Easy pop-up, can of corn, as some would say. And out number 1 for the Trailblazers. Now up to the plate, center fielder number 11, Jasmine Parker, a lefty who has already squared around a bunt, pulls it back and looks to drag bunt down the third baseline. Called ball 1, high and tight. She pulls the bat back last second for the ball. Cambry looks to stay ahead of these hitters to avoid walking anyone as she winds up to deliver the second pitch to Parker. And it's another high fastball to number 11, Jasmine Parker of Adams State University. Cambry has fallen behind 2-0 on this count. There's 1 out for the Dixie State Trailblazers here in the top of the 3rd inning. She winds up to deliver this next pitch to Parker. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Nice pitch. Right on the inside heart of the plate. Jammed the lefty slapper. She could not get her bat around fast enough to get a hold of it. Swing and a miss. 2-1 is the count. Cambry winds and pitches. Nice foul ball down the third baseline, right into the third base dugout for Jasmine Parker, bringing the count to 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here at the top of the 3rd inning. Jasmine digs back into that batter's box as Cambry receives her sign from Diaz. Winds and delivers. Little foul ball down on the third baseline, out of play. Keeping the count 2-2 here in the top half of the 3rd inning. Adams State trails Dixie State 1-0 here at Carl Brooks Field. Cambry Hazel winds and delivers to Park, and she just misses low, bringing the count to 3-2, full count here for Jasmine Parker. Cambry looks to continue to battle as she does not want another walk. Jasmine squares around for a bunt yet again, and she will probably pull it back, which she does. She hits it down the third baseline. Foul ball right on the third baseline. Danny Bardoff still throws her out at first, but it does not count as she's brought back to the batter's box for another go-around. Count is 3-2, 1 out here in the top half of the 3rd inning. Parker squares around yet again just to pull it back as Cambry winds up for the pitch. Another foul off right into the backstop. The count remains full, 3-2, 3 balls, 2 strikes here for Jasmine Parker, the center fielder for Adams State University. Hazel winds up for the pitch, and she misses low in the dirt, which puts Jasmine Parker on first with a walk. Which now brings up the leadoff hitter for the Adams State Grizzlies, Sarah Roca, number 77. Another lefty for the Adams State Grizzlies. She looks to advance Parker in any way possible as Cambry winds and delivers this next pitch. Big swing and a miss by number 77, Sarah Roca, as she falls behind early 0-1 in her second at-bat on the day. In her first at-bat, she struck out looking. She'll look to put the ball in play this time around. Cambry winds up. Jasmine Parker is stealing. Another swing and a miss by Sarah Roca. Jasmine is safe at second with a successful stolen base. It was close. Diaz just a little late on the throw down to second. Jasmine still second. Runner on second. 2 strikes. 1 out here in the top half of the 3rd inning. As there is a situation going on the diamond, I am not sure what is happening. I think they called Jasmine as leaving the base early, which means she would be out. The umps gather up with the head coach of Adams State University in the pitching circle to see what the call was as Jasmine started to walk off the field. She is indeed out. That was a strange play of events right there. There's now 2 outs on this inning. Sarah Roca is down 0-2 in her at bat as she looks to put the ball in play. She digs back into that left-hander's batter's box as Cambry Hazel winds up and delivers. And Sarah Roca puts it into left field. Line drive right over Megan Anders' head at shortstop to reach first base. Good, solid piece of hitting by Sarah Roca as she delivers a solid line drive in the left field for the lefty. Bringing up now number 10, Samantha McDonald, who is playing left field for the Adams State Grizzlies today. She's another lefty for the Adams State Grizzlies. She digs in. Cambry delivers and misses low and away. Diaz had to pick it up out of the dirt. Checks the runner at first. She ain't going nowhere, so she throws it right back to Hazel to get this stuff going. Cambry looks to continue to stay ahead on these batters as she winds up for the second pitch to McDonald. McDonald fouls it off on a slap attempt, bringing the count to 1-1. It is 1-1, 1 ball, 1 strike on Samantha McDonald. 2 outs here in the top of the third inning. Runner on first as the Dixie State Trailblazers lead the Adams State Grizzlies 1-0. Cambry receives her signs from Diaz, winds up, and it is a little dinky line drive blooper to Megan Anders there at shortstop, which is caught for out number 3 in the top half of this third inning, leaving 1 runner on. We are taking a short 30-second break here. Do not touch that dial.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as the Trailblazers lead the Adams State Grizzlies 1-0 after 2.5 innings of play. The top half of the third was uneventful yet again for the Adams State Grizzlies as they had a nice line drive hitting the left by Sarah Rocco to put her on first base, but they could not do anything after that as Cambry Hazel shuts the door on another top half of the inning, leaving a runner stranded and bringing us to the bottom of the third as number 11, Mallory Eldridge, comes up to the plate. In her first at bat of the day, she had a hard hit single. Wind up in the pitch, and first pitch swinging again. She hits it in the left field, but it is caught by the left fielder. 2 pitches is all Mallory Eldridge has seen so far on the day. 1 was successful, 1 was a pop out the left field. She will look to continue her hot streak as Jess Gonzalez, number 12, the designated player, comes to the plate. First pitch swinging yet again. It is a soft grounder to third base. She is thrown out at first for the second out of the inning. 2 pitches is all that has been thrown so far in the bottom half of this third inning as the Trailblazers need to be more patient. Michaela Thompson, number 21, comes up to the plate. She singled in her last one. Another first pitch swing and another grounder to third base, which she throws out Michaela Thompson at first, making it only a 3-pitch inning for the Adams State Grizzlies. We're going to take a 30-second break. Don't touch that radio dial. This is Radio Dixie 91.3.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as the bottom of the third was a 3-pitch inning for the Adams State Grizzlies against the Trailblazers as they were super aggressive in their at-bats. 3 batters, 3 pitches was all that was seen, 1 to each batter as the door was closed on the bottom of the third inning for the Trailblazers. Coming up to start off the top of the fourth for the Adams State Grizzlies is number 5, the pitcher, Jade Garbizo, as Cambry looks to get her to ground out again like she did in her first at-bat. She fouls it right back over the backstop for strike number 1 in this at-bat. 0-1 is the count here to start Garbizo's second at-bat on the day against the Trailblazers. High fastball, swing and a miss by Garbizo. Good cut, just did not make contact. She falls behind 0-2 in this at-bat as she looks to continue, as Cambry looks to continue to pound the strike zone with all of her arsenal of pitches. She winds up and delivers, and it is hit in the shallow left, and it is caught by Mallory Eldridge on the run, coming in for out number 1. Top of the 4th, 1 out, as number 9, Shelby Haskins, comes to the plate to look to redeem herself from the looking strikeout she had in her last at bat. Cambry receives her signs, and she delivers the pitch. Nice little blooper that Destiny Diaz makes a diving catch down the first baseline from the catching position for out number 2 on this top half of the 4th inning. Good play by Diaz as she had to outstretch and catch the little foul ball down the first baseline. 2 outs here in the top half of the 4th inning, as Cambry gets back into the pitching circle to face numbers 00, Zoe Munn, the catcher. It is fouled off for the first pitch of Zoe Munn, falling behind 0-1. Cambry has started off every at-bat this inning with a strike, which is a good thing. She needs to start off and get ahead, or she will fall behind. She winds up and delivers. Foul ball down the third baseline. As I catch a foul ball barehanded down the third baseline. 2 strikes now on this at bat for Zoe Munn. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning for Cambry Hazel. She winds up and delivers a pitch. Foul ball down the third baseline. Her second foul ball, keeping the count 0-2 on the day. On this at bat, for Zoe Munn. As Cambry throws it back in to Megan, who throws a liner back to Megan Anders, who was not expecting it to come that hard. As the count is still 0-2 with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning. Cambry winds up and delivers the pitch as she has another foul ball down the left side of the left field line. She now falls behind 0-2 as I had to avoid getting hit with yet another foul ball here sitting down the third baseline. She hits a little blooper down the third baseline. Danny Bardoff makes an amazing running throw to get her out at first base. No runners on, no runners left. Coming into the 4th inning stretch here on the day for the Dixie State Trailblazers. We're going to take a short 3-minute break here as they get the songs playing here for Dixie State. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Well, welcome back to Dixie State softball, as Danny Bartov is just now getting to the plate to start off the bottom half of this 4th inning, and she takes a ball low and inside. To recap the last inning, it was uneventful, to say the least. No run scored, 1 runner left on, as Danny Bartov hits a line drive down the third baseline, just foul. Would have been an amazing hit if it would have stayed fair, but it is not. She is coming up after lining out to shortstop in her previous at-bat on the day. She looks to get on in the bottom of the 4th inning here for the Dixie State Trailblazers. To wind up in the pitch, and she hits a hard grounder to third base. Too hard to play as she reaches first safely after a hard hit grounder to the third baseman. She could not handle it, and Danny Bardoff reaches first safely. Bringing up to the plate, the center fielder, number 10, Taylor Godfrey. Taylor popped out in her first at bat. She squares around a bunt, pulls it back, and takes a ball in the dirt. 1-0 is the count for Taylor Godfrey's second at bat of the day. Runner at first, 1-0 is the count for Taylor Godfrey as she takes her second pitch. Tries to put a bunt down, but bunts it foul, bringing the count to 1-2 for her. With Danny Bardoff running hard to second base, having to run all the way back to first base because of the foul ball. Garbizo winds up and delivers the pitch. Taylor Godfrey tries to bunt again, but she makes a lunging attempt at the ball and misses, bringing the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs here in the bottom of the 4th, as the Dixie State Trailblazers lead the Adams State Grizzlies 1-0. Godfrey takes a ball high and outside, bringing the count to 2-2. Correction, that first hit that Danny Bardoff got in this inning has been recorded as an error on the third baseman of Adams State. As Taylor Godfrey takes a ball low and away, bringing it to a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here in her second at bat of the day, with Danny Bardoff sitting on first base. Garbizo winds up and delivers. Bardoff is running. Taylor hits it down the third base line into left, advancing Bardoff to second, getting her a nice solid single into left field for Taylor Godfrey. Which now brings up number 4, the second baseman, Caitlin DeLange. She comes up to the plate, having struck out in her first at bat. She will look to score both Bardoff and Godfrey. As she squares around to bunt, she does not get it as they throw it back to second base to try to backdoor pick Bardoff, but she gets back safely. It is 0-1 for Caitlin DeLange. DeLange digs back in as she gets ready for this pitch. She squares around, but it is low and in the dirt for ball 1. 1-1 is the count for Caitlin DeLange as Danny Bardoff reached safely on second and Taylor Godfrey is on first. DeLange squares around again for a bunt, but misses. The Trailblazers are struggling mightily with their bunts attempts. Everyone knows Coach Simpkins likes to play small ball and bunt people over, and the Trailblazers have not been successful in doing it in this game, as the count is now 1-2 for Caitlin DeLange. She digs back in and looks to do something with these runners on first and second. She fouls out down the third baseline to keep the count 1-2. Danny Bardoff reached on an error by the third baseman, which was also a hard hit that could have gone either way in the book, but she is now on second base due to Taylor Godfrey's nice line drive in the left as Caitlin DeLange fouls off yet another pitch into the backstop, keeping the count 1-2 in her second at bat of the day. As the official calls time, as a part of Caitlin DeLange's bat has broken off the top piece of her bat, the logo of the Easton bat that she is using, the Easton logo has fallen off the top of her bat. As we get ready to get back to gameplay, she digs back in to fight for this at bat. The pitch, it is a little swinging bunt to say the least, that she almost runs out but just barely gets thrown out at first. It was a swing, but it looked like a bunt to where it landed. But it advances both Bardoff and Godfrey from first and second to second and third, which now brings up number 3, the catcher, Destiny Diaz. She walked in her first at bat, the first pitch, swing and fouled off into the backstop. 0-1 to start Diaz's at bat. Garbizo gets back into the box. She is ready to deliver the pitch to Diaz as she is down 0-1 in this at bat. High for ball number 1 at this at bat. It is now 1-1 here in the bottom of the 4th as Diaz looks to score both Bardoff and Godfrey, who are stuck at third and second for the Trailblazers. The windup and the pitch to Diaz. She squares around a bunt. And it scores a run, but it did hit Diaz as it might be considered a dead ball. The runners will have to go back to second and third, and Diaz will have to come back into the box. Yet again, Coach Simpkins likes to play small ball. He likes to bunt people over. As Simpkins gets to Diaz as they are checking her out because the ball hit her hand as she turned around to bunt. The trainer is now getting involved, the athletic trainer. She is getting tape or something done to her hand or wrist area. I cannot see from where I am sitting, but Diaz will have to take a little timeout as she is getting taped up. We'll take a short 30-second break as she is getting taped up. Don't touch that dial.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
In a change of events, Diaz is indeed injured and has to have a pinch hitter come in for, which is number 9, freshman Ashley Jones, who comes in to take Diaz's count 1-2 as she looked to get a hit, which is not easy to do. She is already coming in down 1-2. She just takes a ball high and tight to bring the count to 2-2 for Ashley as she looks to put the ball in play and score the 2 runners. Ball is low, called ball 3, full count for Ashley Jones, who just came in for Destiny Diaz, who squared around for a bunt and took the bunt somewhere off her hand, her arm area. I do not know, as Ashley comes in to hit a line drive into left field between the shortstop and third baseman. Bardoff scores. Godfrey comes around from second, and she slides, and she's safe. Ashley Jones with a double, 2 RBIs on a pinch hit as she came in with an account of 1-2, but she comes through and scores both runs. It is now 3-0 for the Dixie State Trailblazers. Which now brings up number 24, Megan Anders. It is an outside pitch. They checked down to the third base because of the check swing, but she did not go around. Ball 1 for Megan Anders. Ashley Jones sits on second after an amazing double that scored 2 runs as Megan Anders pops it foul out of play, bringing her count to 1-1 on this at-bat. As Destiny Diaz now comes back into the dugout with the trainer, she looks to be fine, but we'll see if she comes back out to play in the next half inning as Megan swings and hits a little blooper grounder down to the first baseman, who tags her out, but it does advance Ashley Jones to third and to score a better scoring position. As number 22, the leadoff hitter, Brenna Cornwall, comes to the plate. The windup in the pitch, Cornwall takes it high and tight for ball number 1. 1-0 is the count for Brenna Cornwall with 2 outs as Ashley Jones sits on third, awaiting to see what happens. Ball 2, high and tight yet again by Jay Garbizo. The pitcher for Adams State is struggling to find the strike zone as of late. Brenna Cornwall digs back in pitch, takes it high and outside as they throw back to try to back pick Ashley Jones. She dives back in just in time. The count is now 3-0 for Brenna Cornwall as Ashley Jones is still on third base with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Ball 4 is called low and in the dirt. Brenna Cornwall advances to first. Runner on first and third as number 11, Mallory Eldridge, comes to the plate for her 3rd at-bat of the day. She is 1 for 2 so far with a single and a pop out. She looks to score 1, if not 2 of these runners. She squares around to bunt, and it is called ball 1. Small ball yet again by Coach Randy Simpkins as he does his small ball tactics as he wants his hitter to square around for a bunt, the pull back, hopefully have the runner on first, have an early steal, get into a pickle or a hot box, whatever you call it, from wherever you're from, whatever you want to call it, and have that runner on third score, and then have the runner on second stay in that pickle long enough for that runner to get home. He has done it multiple times so far this season, so let's see if that's what he does here. They took a quick timeout to talk to his hitter, so let's see what he has dialed up for this at bat for number 11, Mallory Eldridge, as Brenna Cornwall sits on first and Ashley Jones sits on third. She squares on the bunt. It is pulled back. Brenna does steal second like she was supposed to. But it does not work because Ashley Jones does not go home and Brenna Cornwall is tagged out at first. I called it. He chose to do the delayed steal and try to get in the hot box to score the runner on third, but the runner on third, did not do what she was supposed to do. We'll take a short 30-second break. We'll be right back.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as Jess Gonzalez has started this inning as the catcher for the Trailblazers, as Destiny Diaz was taken out of the game the last half inning from getting hit with a pitch. She moves over from the designated player to the hitter, which now puts Ashley Jones in puts her in left, Brenna Cornwall in right, and Taylor Godfrey in center, which now means Mallory Eldridge is now either the designated hitter or she is completely out of the game. I'll keep you updated this next half inning on what is going on. The Trailblazers scored 2 runs that last half inning. They lead 3-0 here in the top of the 5th against the Adams State Grizzlies. Ashley Jones with a big hit last inning, the big double to score both Danny Bardoff and Brendan Cornwall to up the Trailblazers lead to 3 as Cambry looks to pitch against number 14, Rebecca Wood. And the first pitch is called a strike on the first pitch of this at-bat. Rebecca Wood, number 14, pops out in her first at-bat as she looks to do something in this next. Big swing and a miss by Rebecca Wood to take the count to 0-2. Hard fastball on the inside half the plate by Cambry Hazel right there. Dominating fastball she has as she looks to continue. The pitch is high, she check swings, and it hits her hand, which is indeed a foul ball if it hits her hand as she's swinging. 0-2 still. It was considered a foul ball as the coach comes down to talk to number 14, Rebecca Wood, to make sure she is okay as we look to continue the top half of the 5th inning. It is 0-2 on Rebecca Wood with no outs as they send her into the dugout to get the trainer looked at. She says it's okay. They send her right back out to the batter's box. Let's get this at bat rolling again as she digs back into the right-hander's batter's box. Cambry winds up and delivers the pitch. She misses low and inside. Good 0-2 pitch, trying to get her to chase. Great idea as she falls. She doesn't fall behind as she has 1 ball, 2 strikes on Rebecca Wood. She gets her sign. She delivers. And it's a foul ball almost again right at me. So I had to avoid it another time as the count stays 1-2 on Rebecca Wood. Cambry gets the signs, winds up and delivers. Misses low and inside again for ball number 2 in this at bat as the count is now 2-2 on number 14, Rebecca Wood here in the top half of the 5th. No outs. Dixie State leads 3-0 over Adams State. Misses inside again, just barely bringing the count to 3-2. Cambry Hazel needs to find the strike zone in this at bat. Started off strong with 2 strikes, but has thrown 3 balls since then. Winds up again for the pitch. It is fouled off backwards into the parking lot, keeping the count full at 3-2. There's no outs here in the top half of the 5th inning as the Trailblazers lead the Grizzlies 3-0. Cambry gets the pitch. Gets the signs, winds up. It is a pop-up down the third baseline. Danny Bardoff is battling the sun, but she catches it for out number 1. Good play, way to battle the sun. I was even struggling to see that ball with the sun, how bright it is, staring down the left fielder. shortstop and third baseman. Out number 1 here in the top half of the 5th inning. Now up to the plate, number 7, Mercedes Salazar. Cambry winds up and delivers. Low in the dirt for ball number 1 for the first pitch of this at bat. 0-1 is the count. As Cambry gets her signs and delivers. It is popped up to the catcher, Jess Gonzalez, and she makes the play. 2 outs now as Salazano pops up to Jessica Gonzalez behind the dish for out number 2 here in the top half of the 5th inning. Bringing up, now up, pinch hitting is number 13, Kenzie Lang, for number 22, Alyssa Solorzano. First pitch is missed high and inside, just barely missed. I don't know where that could have missed, but it was called indeed a ball. 1-0 for Kenzie Lang in her first at bat of the game. Cambry gets her sign. She winds up and delivers. Big swing and a miss by Lang as it is now 1-1 with 2 outs here in the top half of the 5th inning. The bats have been dead all game long for the Grizzlies as they look to at least score 1 run here on the day as Kenzie Lang again swings and misses on a hard fastball high in the zone for the second consecutive pitch. It is 1-2, 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. She delivers. She misses inside. It was a good pitch for the count. It was 1-2. She missed inside on a breaking pitch. Good spot, good location. Just missed though. 2-2 is the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes on number 13, Kenzie Lang. She winds up and delivers. And she finishes Kenzie Lang with a hard fastball on the outside half of the plate. Swing and miss for the 3rd out of the ball game. We're going to take a short 30-second break. Don't touch that radio dial. We'll be right back.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field, located on the beautiful campus of Dixie State University. It is a beautiful day for softball here in St. George, Utah. As the sun is shining, it is about 60, 65 degrees down here as the Lady Trailblazers lead the Lady Grizzlies of Adams State 3-0. As number 11, Mallory Eldridge, comes to dig in for her 3rd at bat of the game. She is 1 for 2 so far with a hard single and a pop up to left field. We have a short meeting with Coach Randy Simpkins and the officials before the start of this inning. We'll wait and see as one of the umpires starts talking to him about catching a ball. He says I should leave my feet, but I am perfectly sitting down, catching foul balls, trying to avoid foul balls at that as we wait to start the bottom half of this 5th inning, as we are still waiting to see what is going on with Coach Randy Simpkins and the home plate official. It looks like there are changes being made as the official walks over to the score booth to tell them what is going on. We'll play it by ear to see what is happening here as the Dixie State Trailblazers lead 3-0 over the Adams State Grizzlies here in the bottom of the 5th inning. We are still waiting word on what is going on. We are finally about to get back to play. I am not sure. They have not given me any information on what that was for as the first pitch is thrown. And Mal drills one up center field, just off the glove of the shortstop as she reaches first base with a hard hit single. No outs, runner on first. It is ruled a hit. It was smoked up the middle as number 44, Riley Tedica, comes to the plate to pinch hit for number 12, Jess Gonzalez. This is what the whole conference was about, to tell the officials what was going on, the umpires, who was coming in, what they were doing, with the whole Diaz, Gonzalez, and Eldridge situation, when Diaz came out hurt. It is now situated. Number 44, Riley Tedica, has come into the game to hit for number 12, Jess Gonzalez, here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Riley Tedica has power. She is fast, and she makes solid contact whenever she hits the ball. This is her first at-bat of this ball game, and we are just about to get her this at-bat started. She digs into the right-handed batter's box to see what Jade Garbizo has in store for her. First pitch misses high for Tedica, as it is now 1-0, no outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. She digs back in. Garbizo receives her signs and starts her windup. It is low in the dirt for ball number 2, and also a stolen base there by a pinch runner for Mallory Eldridge, which is indeed number 23, Casey Crawford, a freshman from Fillmore, California. 2-0 on Riley Tedica. Runner on second. No outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Another ball in the dirt, bringing the count to 3-0, as Casey Crawford at second thought about stealing third, but she goes back to second as the count comes to 3-0 here in the bottom of the 5th for the Dixie State Trailblazers. The windup and the pitch to Tedica is called ball 4, missed just outside of the strike zone, putting Tedica on first with a walk in her first at-bat of the day. It now brings up the transfer, number 21, Michaela Thompson. She comes up to the plate with going 1 for 2 so far on the day, with a hard ripped single in her first at bat and a ground out in her second. She needs to be patient. She only saw one pitch in that last at bat when she grounded out to short, as she has a runner on second and first. We will see if Coach Simpkins wants to play a little bit of small ball again. This is the type of situation where he will usually bunt them over, so we'll see. And she does not. She takes ball 1 in the dirt to start her at bat. She gets her signs from Coach Simpkins down on the third baseline. She digs back into the batter's box to wait for the pitch. She has the green light to swing as she takes a hard hack and fouls it into the backstop for strike number 1. It is now 1 ball, 1 strike, no outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning, as the Trailblazers lead 3-0 over the Adams State Grizzlies. She does lay down a bunt, but she is thrown out at first. Both runners advance from Riley to second, Casey to third, 1 out. There is the small ball that I was talking that Coach Simpkins likes to play. And he gets runners in scoring position for number 2, Danny Bartov. Bartov, who scored in her last time around, hits a grounder to shortstop, and she gets thrown out at first, as it is now 2 outs on for the Trailblazers in this inning, as they have a runner on third and second. Bringing to the plate, number 10, Taylor Godfrey. Taylor comes to the plate, trying to find out what she needs to do just to score these 2 runners, as she takes strike number 1 on the inside part of the plate. The Garbanzo gets her signs. She winds up and delivers. It is low and in the dirt for ball number 1 for Taylor Godfrey. It is 1-1 with 2 outs here. Runners on second and third in the bottom of the 5th. The windup in the pitch. It is missed inside to the backstop, but bounces right back to the catcher. The runners thought about advancing, but the ball hit so hard off of that backstop. It came right back as the count is now 2 balls and 1 strike. The windup and the pitch. It is high, and Taylor Godfrey does not swing, which brings the count to 3-1. As Taylor looks to either get on with the walk or advance these 2 runners and score them here in the bottom of the 5th. The windup, the pitch. It is high and inside again for ball number 4, which advances Taylor Godfrey to first base, loading the bases for number 4, Caitlin DeLange. She is 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout and a sac bunt as Adams State head coach calls time to go talk to his infield and pitcher to see what is going on and to give any advice that he can in the situation to not go down any further. As we get ready to get back to play, it is 3-0 for the Dixie State Trailblazers here in the bottom of the 5th. They are leading over the Adams State Grizzlies. Kate DeLange comes to the plate 0 for 1 with the sac bunt, but the 0 for that 1 at bat was a strikeout. The windup in the pitch. It is fouled off right into the backstop. 0-1 on the count. Bases are loaded. Taylor Godfrey on first, Riley Tedica on second, and Casey Crawford on third. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. She gets her signs. She winds up and is getting ready to deliver the pitch. Ducks out of the way for ball number 1, high and tight, right at her helmet, right at the earpiece. She had to get out of the way for that one. It is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Digs back into that batter's box as she awaits the pitch. As she hits it right back at the pitcher. She hits it down, but she still is able to throw her out at first. Right back to the pitcher. Strands 3 runners on in the bottom of the 5th for the Trailblazers. Take a short 30-second break here on Radio Dixie 91.3. Don't touch that dial.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Dixie State against Adams State here at Carl Brooks Field. The Trailblazers lead 3-0. In the last half inning, the Trailblazers stranded 3 runners on third, second, and first. DeLange ended the inning with a hard hit right back to the pitcher, but she was able to make the play and close out the inning after Dixie State was threatening to score yet again. As we get ready to start the top half of the 6th inning, number 11, Jasmine Parker for Adams State will be the leadoff hitter this inning, as Cambry Hazel is still in the pitching circle for Dixie State after only giving up 2 hits so far to the Lady Grizzlies. Parker gets ready for the at-bat as she digs her way into that left-handed batter's box. She is a slapper. She gets ready to go. Cambry gets her signs, gets ready to deliver, and she winds up. Parker squares around but pulls it back. It is low and outside, and it is strike 1 in this at-bat of Parker against Hazel. Hazel digs in, gets her signs, ready to pitch. She winds up and delivers. And there's a little blooper in the left field, scooped up by Ashley Jones, but Parker does reach the first on a little line drive in the left field. 1 runner on, no outs, as the leadoff hitter, number 77, Sarah Roca, comes up to the plate. She is 1 for 2 on the day. Her first bat being a strikeout, her second at bat being a little line drive in the left field, as Jasmine Parker is on first in the top half of the 6th inning. First pitch just misses low and away for Hazel. 1-0, 1 ball, no strikes. Dixie State leads 3-0 over the Adams State Grizzlies. Hazel gets her signs. She needs to stay ahead in these at bat. She cannot fall behind. As she goes a high fastball, misses everything. Ball number 2. She needs to stay ahead. If the Trailblazers want to keep their lead, she cannot afford to walk or hit anybody at this point of the game. She winds up and delivers. And she misses high again, bringing the count to 3-0. With a runner on first base here in the top half of the sixth, Trailblazers lead 3-0. Cambry has struggled with walks so far this year. She has done a good until this at bat, only having one walk. As she gets the first strike at the at bat, hitting the inside part of the plate. 3-1 is the. She looks to continue with that strike as she winds up and delivers. Swing and a miss by Roca. It is now a full count, 3-2 with Jasmine Parker, number 11 on first, with Samantha McDonald on deck. No outs here in the top of the sixth inning. Trailblazers lead 3-0. Cambry gets her signs and she winds up and delivers. It is fouled off into the backstop. Jasmine Parker was going on that pitch because it is indeed 3-2 as we go have another round at it. 3 balls, 2 strikes, no outs, runner on first here in the top half of the sixth inning. Roca gets back into the box, digs in for the pitch. Ball 4 is called as Parker was going. Runner on first and second. Walk number 2 of the day for Hazel. No outs. Coach Simpkin calls time to go talk to his pitcher, Hazel. Coming up to the plate for the Adams State Grizzlies is number 10, Samantha McDonald. She is 0 for 2 on the day with 2 line drives to left field. As Coach Simpkins finishes up his pep talk to his infield and his pitcher, we await to see if Cambry Hazel can bounce back from that walk. Cambry needs to stay ahead on these hitters. She needs to start and get ahead early. That is when she is the most successful. That is when she is in her most dominant form. She cannot afford to fall behind hitters because the way she pitches to swing and miss, and they don't swing. It's going to go out of the zone. As McDonald squares around a bunt in this at bat, she pulls it back and the pitch is delivered. She does indeed slap one down and beats it out to first. Successful bunt. She reaches, advances, runners to both second and third. The bases are now loaded as number 5, the pitcher, Jade Garbizo, comes up to the plate. Cambry gets her sign. She starts her windup and she gets ready to deliver. She misses low and in. Ball 1. Bases are loaded. No outs here in the top of the sixth inning. The Adams State Grizzlies are threatening to score here with no outs as Garbizo, the 3-hitter, is up to the plate. No windup in the pitch. It is fouled off out of play. 1-1 is the count. 1 ball, 1 strike, no outs. Hazel gets back into the pitcher circle after that fouled off ball. She winds up and delivers. Another fouled off into the backstop netting. 1-2 is the count. Bases are loaded here in the top half of the sixth inning. The Trailblazers lead 3-0, but the Adams State Grizzlies are threatening here in the top half of the sixth. She delivers. It is another foul ball out of play behind the backstop net. As fans avoid getting hit with the pop-up, it is now 1-2 for Jade Garbizo here in her third at bat of the ball game. She is 0 for 2 on the day as she looks to get a hit in her third at bat. Cambry gets the sign she wants. She winds up and she delivers the pitch. She misses low and inside for ball number 2. Count was 2-2 here in the top half of the sixth inning. Runners on all bases, they are loaded as she delivers. And yet another fouled off pitch by Garbizo, her 4th of the at bat. The count was still 2-2 with no outs. Runners on first, second, and third as the Grizzlies look to score their first runs of the ball game. Hazel misses high for a ball number 3, bringing the count to 3 balls, 2 strikes. It is a full count here for Jade Garbizo. It is pitcher against pitcher, but in this case, pitcher against batter, who also happens to be their pitcher, as the count was 3-2, and she delivers the pitch, and it is popped up into shallow center as the ball drops in for a hit. It scores a run. I am not sure who the error is going to be on, but it is going to be on someone. My guess, it is going to be on number 24, Megan Anders, as she called up everyone, and the ball dropped in between her and the center fielder and the left fielder. A pinch runner is coming into the game for the Grizzlies as number 12 comes up to the plate. A pinch hitter by the name of Hannah Wirches. I am not sure how to pronounce that last name, so if I do get it wrong, part of the plate, it is 1-1. There's no out still here in the top half of the sixth inning. The Grizzlies are looking to do more damage. The windup in the pitch. Swing and a miss on a big cut. 1-2 is the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no outs, as Dixie State looks to stop the bleeding here. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 is called. Cambry Hazel with another strikeout on the day. That is her fourth on the day, as number 00, Zoe Mung, comes to the plate. There's finally an out in this top half of the sixth inning as the Trailblazers look to get another. Zoe Mung squares around, pulls it back, pops it up out of play over the press box. 0-1, she falls behind early in this at-bat. Zoe Mung is 1 for 2 on the day, and she's looking to score runs here for Adams State University. Swing, and it is fouled off back behind the third base dugout. 0-2, Zoe Mung is down here in the top of the sixth inning. There is 1 out. Dixie State still leads 3-1 over the Adams State Grizzlies. Cambry Hazel gets her sign. She starts her windup and delivers the pitch. It is fouled off again behind the third base dugout. It is still 0-2 with 1 out here in the top half of the sixth inning as Zoe Mung looks to stay alive. Zoe Mung digs back into the batter's box. Hazel's awaiting her sign from Gonzalez. She finally gets the one she's looking for. She starts her windup and delivers. Yet another fouled off pitch in this at bat. Still 0-2 here with 1 out here in the top half of the sixth inning. Zoe Mung is battling up there. Cambry gets her sign. She winds up and delivers. And yet another foul ball by Zoe Mung. She is doing the definition of battling for an at-bat. She does not want to go down easy. It is 0-2, and this will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat. 1 out here in the top half of the sixth inning as the Trailblazers lead 3-1 over the Adams State Grizzlies. The pitch. Foul out of play yet again for Zoe Mung as she battles in this at-bat, as the umpire has to go get another set of balls from the Dixie State dugout, as she has hit so many out of play during this at-bat. Cambry Hazel is waiting for her sign from Jessica Gonzalez behind the dish. She gets it. She starts her windup and looks to deliver the pitch. And it is popped up into shallow left. Almost a collision between Megan Anders and Ashley Jones. Ashley Jones tries to call off, but Megan Anders stays there, makes the catch. Ashley Jones avoids the collision, and it is caught by Megan Anders for the second out here in the top half of the sixth inning. A long at bat by Zoe Mung, only to fall short. 2 outs here in the top of the sixth as Cambry looks to continue. Strike number 1 called. It is now 0-1 here in the top half of the sixth inning. Swing and a miss. Strike 2 for Cambry Hazel. It is now 0-2. 2 outs. The Dixie State Trailblazers are looking to get out of this jam as the bases have been loaded almost this entire inning. They still lead, though, 3-1 over Adams State. She gets her looking on a changeup on the inside half of the plate. Strike 3 is called, and the Dixie State Trailblazers get out of the jam. There's 1 run scored on 3 hits that inning by the Adams State Grizzlies. We'll take a short break here. Don't touch that radio dial. This is Radio Dixie 91.3.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back to Carl Brooks Field as the Adams State Grizzlies finally got onto that scoreboard that last half inning in the top of the sixth, scoring 1 run. but leaving 3 runners on. Coming up this inning, Destiny Diaz is back in the game, hitting as a designated player, coming back in after leaving the game a few innings ago due to injury after getting hit by a pitch. She digs into that right-handed batter's box as Jade Garbizo looks to do damage just bottom half of the 6th against the Lady Trailblazers. The windup and the pitch. It is high and outside. 1 ball, no strikes, no outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning, where the Dixie State Trailblazers softball team leads the Adams State Grizzlies 3-1. The windup in the pitch, just outside, another ball. It is 2-0 here for Destiny Diaz in the bottom of the 6th. She digs back into the box. The windup in the pitch, and it's a strike called on the inside half of the plate. It is now 2-1, 2 balls, 1 strike with no outs here in the bottom of the 6th. The windup in the pitch. The hit is in the right field, a hard line drive. Single for Destiny Diaz. Her first hit of the game. She was walked her first at bat, got hit attempting a bunt in her second at bat. Saw Ashley Jones come in, hit a 2 RBI double. Destiny comes back into the ball game and rips a single on the right, which now brings up number 24, Megan Anders. She squares around the bunt. She lays it down the third baseline. She gets it. The third baseman throws it in the dirt into right field, which advances Diaz to third. Anders to second. What a play by the Trailblazers. That small ball is coming in handy today for the Trailblazers as they finally successfully get a bunt down. Now up to bat is number 22, the right fielder, Brenna Cornwall. With Destiny Diaz on third, Megan Anders on second, Cornwall looks to score. Ball 1 in the dirt, 1-0 for Cornwall here in her 4th at bat of the game. She's walked twice and grounded out once. She is 0 for 1 on the day with 2 walks as the pitcher winds up and delivers. Misses low and outside for ball number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning, where the Trailblazers lead the Adams State Grizzlies 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th. The Trailblazers are threatening to score as Jade Garbizo winds up, delivers a pitch as they get into a pickle here between home and third. Diaz tried to score, and she does. She just safely. Anders reaches the third, and Cornwall reaches the second on a little ground ball to the shortstop. She saw in the corner of their eye that Diaz was breaking to home. She tried to throw it at home. Diaz gets in a pickle, gets home safely after going back to third, back to home, back to third, and then home, finally safe. Anders advances to third, and Cornwall advances to second. It is now 4-1 for the Trailblazers as Mallory Eldridge comes to the plate. Mallory Eldridge re-enters the game. She digs into that left-handed batter's box. She's the top hitter average-wise for this Dixie State Trailblazers softball team. Pitch number 1 is called strike 1, just over the outside hard of the plate. 0-1 for Mallory Eldridge here in the bottom half of the 6th as the Trailblazers lead 4-1. She hits a little blooper down the left field line, just foul. 0-2 for Mallory Eldridge here in the bottom of the 6th. There are runners on second and third. Brenna Cornwall on second. Megan Anders on third. Mallory Eldridge up to the plate, looking to score 1, if not 2 of them. The next pitch is in the dirt, but it bounces off that backstop real hard right back to the catcher as the runners have to scurry on back to second and third to avoid getting thrown out. They both do. It is now 1-2 for Mallory Eldridge. Jade Garbizo winds up, throws another one in the dirt. It is now 2-2. The infield of Adams State is now shortened up where they are playing for a bunt here in the bottom half of the 6th with runners on second and third. Garbizo winds up and pitches. It is fouled off by Eldridge just over the third base dugout. Still 2-2. here in the bottom of the 6th. Eldridge digs back into that batter's box. She puts it in play down the third baseline, and the ball is thrown in the dirt. It is missed by the first baseman. She is safe. The runners do not advance. They stay at second and third as number 12, Jess Gonzalez, re-enters the game to hit. Bases are loaded. Megan Anders on third, Brenna Cornwall on second, and now Mallory Eldridge on first. As number 12, Jess Gonzalez drills one down in between the shortstop and third baseman, right in the 5-hole as it scores both Cornwall and Anders from second and third. Mallory Eldridge advances to second, Jess on first, a 2 RBI single for Jess Gonzalez. Now up to the plate, number 21, the first baseman, Michaela Thompson, as she takes the first pitch, low and away for ball number 1. Runners on first and second, no outs here, 1-0 the count, as Garbizo winds up the pitch to Thompson. Big swing and a miss by Thompson as the count comes even, 1-1, as the Trailblazers lead 6-1 here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. They'll wind up in the pitch. She checks, swings, and fouls it off for strike number 2. It is now 1-2 to Michaela Thompson. They'll wind up in the pitch. Ball high and outside. It was close, but it is indeed a ball. The count is now 2-2 for Michaela Thompson here in the bottom of the 6th as Dixie State leads 6-1. The wind up in the pitch. Michaela Thompson drills it to second base. She flips it to the shortstop, but she throws it in the dirt to first. The runner from second scores on the throwing error by the shortstop. Michaela Thompson with the fielder's choice, but the fielding error scores a run, scores Mallory Eldridge all the way from second, which now puts Dixie State up by 6. The lead. The game is now 7-1 here in the bottom of the 6th, which now brings up the third baseman, number 2, Danny Barthoff. She takes the first pitch low, ball 1. As Garbizo gets back to that mound, gets back to the rubber, she looks, she delivers. Barthoff drives it into right to the right fielder, hard line drive, but it is caught for out number 2 here in the inning, which now brings up number 10, Taylor Godfrey, the center fielder today for the Dixie State Trailblazers. They'll wind up in the pitch. Misses low and outside for ball number 1. It is 1-0 for Taylor Godfrey here, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th, the Trailblazers lead 7-1 over the Adams State Grizzlies. Garbizo delivers and drills Taylor right in the shoulder, which puts her on first base. Taylor's on first, Michaela's on second, as it looks like we might have another pinch hitter here for the Dixie State Trailblazers as Caitlin DeLange heads back into the dugout. We will see who is coming up for the Trailblazers. It looks to be none other than number 17, Corey Gahn, who is tied for first on the Trailblazer team in home runs with none other than Jess Gonzalez. She also leads the team in RBIs. Maybe she's in second now behind Jess after that 2 RBI single that Jess had early this inning. She is coming to pinch hit for Kate DeLange. There's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Runners on second and first. Michaela Thompson on second. Taylor Godfrey on first. Corey Gahn stepping up to the plate for her first at bat of the game. She takes the pitch low and inside for ball number 1. Jay Garbizo looks to her catcher to get her signs. She gets the one she likes. She winds up and then she delivers the pitch. She hits her spot, but it was just a little outside according to the ump. Ball number 2 to Corey Gahn. It is 2-0, 2 out. Ball number 3 as she misses low and inside to Corey. 3-0 is the count. 2 outs. Michaela Thompson is on second. Taylor Godfrey is on first. The Trailblazers have already scored 4 runs this inning. They lead 7-1. Corey rips it down the left field line. Michaela Thompson scores from second. Taylor Godfrey scores from first. and Corey sits perfectly on second base with a pinch hit 2 RBI double. And that is the ball game. That ends the game. 9-1 walk-off double. 2 RBIs for Corey Gunn. Her pinch hit 2 RBI double seals the game. We'll take a quick 2-minute break, and we'll come right back to discuss the game, the players of the game, and the upcoming schedules of both teams. Don't touch that radio dial. We will be right back.
It's back to the action for DSU Athletics, brought to you by Ken Garff St. George Ford Lincoln. We now return you to Dixie State Athletics.
Welcome back as the Lady Trailblazers just defeated the Adams State Grizzlies by a score of 9-1. 6 of those 9 runs coming in the latter half of the 6th inning. The bats came alive late for the Trailblazers, as they have been that way for the last few games. They have hopped on teams late and finished them. They have not started games off with very hot bats for the last few weeks, but they continue to win ball games because their bats get hot late. The players of the game, yes, I said players. I can't just name one because there are 3 clutch hits that decided this ball game for the Dixie State Trailblazers. The first one I'm going to start with, she came in to pinch hit due to an injury. Ashley Jones came in with a 1 ball, 2 strike count to hit a 2 RBI double to put the Trailblazers up. And then Jess Gonzalez and Corey Gunn, both in the 6th inning, came in. Corey Gunn came back to pinch hit from not playing in this game, from not starting, to both hit 2 RBI doubles. Those 3 are the players of the game. Also like to mention Cambry Hazel, another dominant performance. 1 run on 5 hits. Dominant as always for the Trailblazers. She is exciting. She has amazing movement to all of her pitches. The Adams State Grizzlies are still looking for their first win, leaving St. George going 0-4, 0-2 against the Trailblazers, 0-2 against Colorado Christian. They move on to go back home March 2nd to play Fort Lewis in a back-to-back doubleheader, both on Saturday and this coming Sunday, March 2nd and March 3rd. They take on the Fort Lewis Skyhawks. And to the Dixie State Trailblazers, they have been at home all year so far for the past few weeks. It is time for them to take their first trip of the season, their first road trip on the season, where they travel to Grand Junction, Colorado, to take on Colorado Mesa in a doubleheader on both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's games will start at noon, and Sunday's games will start at 11. That should be a great matchup for the Trailblazers, as Colorado Mesa is indeed nationally ranked as well, just like the Dixie State Trailblazers. It should be a good competitive game, but if Dixie State wants to leave that weekend 4-0 against a very competitive Colorado Mesa team, they have to figure out how to get their bats started sooner rather than later. When you play a good team, I'm not saying Adams State is not a good team. They are a good, scrappy team. But when you play Colorado Mesa or other schools of they're dominant in other things. They are better than Adams State. I will say that they have a better record. They have proved it game in and game out. If you let yourself fall to Colorado Mesa early, you will not come back from that game. They need to hop on them early. They need to hop on them a lot. They need to put up a lot of runs very quickly in order to beat Colorado Mesa. They can't rely on scoring 5 or 6 runs in the 6th, 7th when the other team, which was being Colorado Mesa, could have already put up big numbers in the first half of the game. They need to start soon. They need their bats to stay hot as they are in the last half of the game. They need to figure out how to play a full game. That's it for us here at Radio Dixie. That's it for me, Easton Smith, here at Carl Brooks Field. Dixie State beat Adams State 9-1 in 6 innings. Thank you for listening. This is Radio Dixie 91.3.
You've been listening to Dixie State Athletics on Radio Dixie 91.3, brought to you by Ken Garv St. George Ford Lincoln. For more information on Dixie State Athletics, DixieStateAthletics.com. Thanks for listening to Radio Dixie 91.3.